going to start where Sean left off from the edge of the blade that you can't really see yet, because I couldn't agree more with you, Sean. Do you know that by 2030, we're going to have over 800 million young people around the world who are not prepared to live in the 21st century. That's like shocking. It's staggering to me. And even if you come from what they call a high income industrial country, then it turns out about a third of your kids are not going to be well prepared. And it gets much higher when you go to some of the more underserved countries. That's like a huge, huge problem. And I think it forces us to really deal with Sean's problem or challenge that he has raised for us. Our schools were they were really described as factories. They were built for factory workers in the age-old period when we used to look at children as products. And if we only put them through the factory, my gosh, they would come out with the right stuff. In Time magazine, one writer once said, if Rip Van Winkle woke up today, there would only be one familiar institution in society, and it would be the modern day school, still hanging behind the blade, waiting for someone to give you the test and slam the blade. Is that really? Is that really how we want to think of success for our children? So informally in the grocery stores around here and in the parks around here, in the days when you used to be able to go out because we didn't have COVID, I used to ask people, what counts as success for your children? I said, question one, is it he or she does great on the test and really, really nailed it on the outcome? Or is it that we want happy and healthy and caring human beings who are thinking people, who know how to collaborate and work in teams, who are creative entrepreneurs, and who are going to grow up to be good citizens of tomorrow? And I will tell you that to the T, everyone chose number two. They didn't choose number one. Now, big business tells us that if we are going to outsmart the robots, then we only have one choice, because the robots are really pretty good. Let's look at what they can do. Their math skills are outstanding. They can solve multiplication problems so quickly that you're just getting ready, trying to understand the equation, it's done. Did you know that they can actually solve physics problems? I mean, computers are amazing at understanding causality in science, but there's something they're not so amazing at, and that's social skills and reading human patterns and learning how to work together. They're not so good at social skills. And what we know about human beings and what we've discovered in the past few years, even with brain research, is that that is our union card as a species. Our most important piece of being human is that we know how to navigate social relationships. We know how to recognize patterns. And believe it or not, we were born with what we might call a social brain. My colleague Pat Cole calls it a socially gated brain. Yes, we can't work 24/7 like those computers. We do need sleep and we do need vacation, but we also have a special skill. We're connectors. We're pattern makers. We are human beings. And do you know that even some of the so-called hard skills, like reading and math, depend on having good social relationships? And those social relationships actually prepare us with the language we need and the patterns we need to do things like reading. Let's just take reading as one example. I have a friend, Stan DeHaan, who's a lead scientist in France, and in fact is now the chief scientist for the Ministry of Education, as well as being a researcher. And he has shown us how reading works, the basic thing we like to test and test and retest and test. Very important skill, and we do need to master it. But believe it or not, reading in the brain is about connecting your language part of your brain with your visual part of your brain into what he has called the visual word form area. How does that happen? Well, if you don't have strong language skills, you know as well as I do, you can learn all the letter sound correspondences and you can even sound out that word, but it won't mean anything. You won't be able to make sense out of the text. You need to have strong knowledge and strong language skills to do that. You get that in social relationships. You get that when people have conversations with you in and out of school. So the hard skills are born from the soft skills. And in what I call the 6 C's, learning how to collaborate, learning how to communicate, learning content for sure, it's there as a fulcrum, but it's built on these two. It's built on being able to communicate and collaborate, critical thinking, creative innovation, and the confidence to give it a whirl. Science says that if we look at what we know right now, these are the suite of skills that we need to have if we are going to outsmart the robots. And believe it or not, there's a place where these all come together. They come together in programs like Rangi. They come together in the Good Seeds movement. They come together through play. In play, young children are the agents who learn how to create with others those social relationships, to communicate more, to learn the content of math and reading and social studies and science, but also learning to learn. The critical thinking, the creative innovation to use what they learn in new ways and to be the entrepreneurs of tomorrow, and the confidence to give it a go. Something we have robbed children of if all they need do is fill in the blank. So I invite you to take on Sean's challenge. Let's live at the edge of the blade and let's see why evolution might have prepared the social brain to help us learn through exploration, through play, and through creativity of tomorrow. Thanks.